we have that idea, and no matter how beautiful the idea is, we can't just put down everything that we want to write in our research projects based on what we have on our head. There is a place of research, there is a place of reading other people's work to understand what has been written concerning the idea that we have, what we want to write on concerning our topic. This thing in its essence is called research. So research in itself is our ability to find more about what other people has written concerning our particular project, concerning our topic that we are working on, concerning that idea that we have. That's one thing that make project writing to be beautiful, because it entails research. You have to read and keep reading. In fact, you have to read widely, and there is the importance of reading vastly. Okay, so that's what made project writing to be very beautiful. And if you want to write, one thing that we need to put at the back of our mind is that if we want to write a project that is quite meaningful, interesting, and that contributes to knowledge, then we need to do a lot of reading. If you could recall in our previous video, one of the things that we said when it comes to gap is that when you are writing your work, your project, when you're writing on your topic, the intent of doing what you're doing is that you want to cover the gap that other studies has not done. You've identified a problem that other studies has not captured, other study has never talked about before, and that's what makes research. That is what makes that's what gives meaning, a beautiful meaning to what you're trying to write on to your research project, to your topic. So without that, you're not writing anything. All right, so things that we need to understand is that in the process of researching and writing, then we are going to make use of other people's work. Yes, we are going to make use of other people's work. Even if we read a particular concept and we understand, we might at first put it down in our understanding, but then it doesn't end there. If you could recall in our previous video where we talk about the structure of conceptual review, how to write conceptual review, starting from the definition, starting from the discussion, starting from the debates, starting from the definition rather, down to the discussion, to the debate, the advantage, the disadvantages, the limitations, the consequences, what other scholars has done, what they've not done, juxtaposing their conclusions and findings, picking their conclusion and making inference on them, arguing on it. You understand? It entails a lot of work. Yes, it entails a lot of work. And the process of you working in-depthly on them, you can't just say that because I've read about a concept, then I've understand everything about that concept as regarding the structure. Is not possible. It's not possible. Yes, you might read to understand, put some things down in your understanding, but then you will have to pick from what all others authors have said, and then you bring them together to also formulate what you're trying to write. What do I mean by this? What I mean is that you have to pick, after you might have read a concept and then you understand what it says, then you might have to pick what author A said. For instance, now I'm done with the definition, following the structure that we talked about in our previous video. I'm done with the definition, or I define a concept based on my understanding. Then I need to bring in the way other scholars has defined it. Then moving from that, and then after that, I will discuss. Then from then, I will move from the definition to discussing important points about that concept. For instance, I want to talk about the importance. Before this importance has been existing, before I decided to write on that particular topic, and it is some set of scholars that discover that importance. So in putting in those importance, then it means that I'm picking other people's work, adding it together to formulate my own work. You understand? So I will have to pick from author A, author B, author C, author D, and bring every one of them together and juxtapose what they said and bring out a meaningful discussion about what they said. That is research in itself. One thing I want us to understand and take note of is that whenever we are doing this, we are bringing ideas from author A, ideas from author B, C, and D together. Please, let us paraphrase. It is very, very important. Let us paraphrase. Do not copy whatsoever any authors have said verbatim and put inside your work. This, by doing that, then you are committing an offense that is called academic fraud, otherwise known as plagiarism. Plagiarism is a situation whereby you pick other people's work and then you claim it to be yours. It's a great criminal offense. And when it comes to academia, I would like to liken this fraud to the case of fraud of committing how should I put it? I don't want to use the word money laundering. Like embezzling money. I don't want to liken it to the grievous sin of killing somebody. But then I could also liken it to killing somebody because the issue of plagiarism is a grievous matter that needed to be taken note of. Is very, very important. You can't just pick other people's work and then claim the authorship of their work. While they are doing their work, they sweat for doing that work. They didn't do that work too by picking other people's work and then saying that they were the one that wrote them. No. So it is important whatsoever we are doing, it is important. Our work, yes. There are things we need to take into consideration while writing our work. The first thing is that we need to read and understand. It is very, very important. There is nothing like reading and understanding what you're about to write. It might be tedious. For the fact, it is very, very tedious, yes. Research is tedious. You might want to write a paragraph and then you might read for about 5 hours before you can internalize what you're trying to read and say you understand it. Just to write a paragraph. And that paragraph might be a paragraph of about 5 pages, 10 pages, or 7 pages. And when I say that, there is tendency for you to might have read for 5 hours. You are not just reading a particular article. You might have read up to like 10 articles or even 5 articles and read over again, read to really understand and get the concept of what they're trying to talk about. So that is research for you. Research is stressful. Please understand that. Research is stressful. But once you commit yourself to doing the work and then you give your best to it, you are going to love the outputs of your work. You are going to love the outputs of your efforts. You're going to love the outputs of everything that you've done. So let me go back to plagiarism. In order to avoid plagiarizing other people's work, please read to understand. After reading to understand, then now write whatsoever you are writing in your own knowledge and understanding. It is very, very important. Write whatsoever you are writing in your own knowledge. Please take note of that. It is very, very important. And in a situation probably whereby you are now experiencing a mind block, yeah, every writer has experienced that. You see, you might have there is always a situation whereby you are reading a particular paragraph for 2 hours, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, and then it's not making any sense to you. You can't really comprehend what that material is saying or what that thing is saying. So in such kind of situation, you've experienced a mind block. You are not assimilating. Nothing you are reading is making sense to you. So what you need to do as at that moment is that just leave what you're doing for a while. Go relax your brain, go relax your mind, go do everything that you want to do in order to get back your sanity, your energy, everything that you needed to get back the energy and the vibe that you needed to work with. Go back, go and get it first before you now come back to your work. There are times that, yes, what you're reading is even making sense, but the ability in you to put it back, like to rephrase it, to put it in another way, it might be lacking. You might not really know, you might not really understand. There is a way to work around that in order to avoid the issue of plagiarism. That we will talk about that in our subsequent video. That's not the purpose of this video. Now, another thing that is important is that in order to avoid the issue of plagiarism, this is where what we call in-text citation comes in. In-text citation. This is where it comes in. Now, what do we mean by in-text citation? You see, it is simply a process whereby you cite the people that you make use of their work. For instance, in my work, I am writing, I saw Otoye, I saw what Otoye said, and it's beautiful, quite beautiful. I love it. I pick it, put it in my work. I do not just put it verbatim in my work. Please take notes. I do not put it verbatim in my work, but rather I paraphrase it. What do I mean by paraphrasing? I rephrase it. I write it in my own understanding. But regardless of the fact that I write it in my own understanding, that idea was not originally mine. It was coming from another author. So I will have to cite that author in my work. So I will now say, author A said this. Author A stated this. Author A expressed this. I will move to author B. I read the work of author B. I realized that what author B says too is very beautiful, interesting, and it goes well with what I'm trying to do. And it even corroborates. It was in line with what author A said. I will take it again, put it inside my own work. But I won't put it directly in order to avoid the issue of plagiarism. I will read, understand, and write it, rephrase it in my own understanding. And then after that, I will have to include the name of author B. Including the name of author B either at the end, in the middle, or at the beginning of that particular sentence that I lifted from the work of author B is what we called in-text citation. It is simply including the names of the authors that you use their work in your work. It is very important. All right, another thing that we need to take note of while writing and work, which is quite important, is the issue of the rules of first mention. The rules of first mention. Now, this has to do with a lot of things, like when you are writing, it's okay. Let me say a bit, let me start with, it is related to citation too. It is related to citation, but a bit different from citation. Related to citation, but a bit different from citation. Now, what do I mean by this? Is that, you see, there are rules to some certain things while writing your work. There are rules to some certain things, and which are quite important and vital while writing your work. For instance, there is a rule that is called the rule of first mention. Probably I am writing from a particular website, a prominent body. I went to their website to read about my work, and I saw what they put on their website to be very interesting. Or probably they've done something similar to what I was doing before, and I stumbled across their previous work. I have to cite them, like we said in our inter citation. Whatsoever author, whosoever that you pick from, you have to include their name at the end of what you are what you brought from their work, and you are adding to yours, regardless of how beautifully you rephrase it. You understand? So this kind of body, or probably some technical terms, there is a rule that you need to follow while working with them. I do not want to make this video long, so I won't be showing us example of these things in this video. In our next video, I will be showing you the example of how to follow these things one after the other, so that we can take note of them while working. Then the last thing is called references. References is an extension of inter-citation. Now, the difference, you see, there is a unique difference between references rather, and inter-citation. The big difference is that in the inter-citation is always in the body of your work. References is at the end of your work. While writing out a reference, you are writing out the authors you've cited in the body of your work. All the authors you cited during your inter-citation, you will still list out their names again. During inter-citation, what you did was that you just put their name. Oh, Adamu and Adamu 2020. Adamu and Adeoye 2024. Adeoye Eto 2025. You understand? All right, you won't say more than that. But when it now comes to the references side, you are going to write their name, you're going to write their initials, you're going to write the year they did their work, you're going to write their topic, you're going to write the journal they published from, you're going to write it contains a lot of information. I will show you that example. And one thing that is quite important is that every author that you cited inside the body of your work, they must appear on your reference list. Otherwise, you will still be guilty of the case of plagiarism, which is called academic fraud. All right, I don't want to extend this video beyond what it is presently. I want us to take note of this while working. In our next video, I will show you the example under each heading, how to go about them, so that we can make use of them while writing our work. And these things just goes beyond our conceptual review. It is very important in every of the work, starting from our chapter 1 down to our chapter 5. They are important because we are going to consistently and continually make use of them. So, see you in the next video. If you are yet to subscribe, kindly subscribe to this channel. Please share with your colleagues, share with your friends, including your enemy, that you know they are going to benefit from this channel. And do not forget to turn up your notification button. See you in the next video. Bye.